Greetings, ladies and gents, and welcome to this latest narration of the web series Accidentally Adopted. If you are new to the series, there is a playlist listed down below in the description, and as always, I hope that you enjoy. Part 4, Chapter 3, Intel. Dear Diary, the station is starting to go back to normal. I mean, like, as normal as a station where the grown-ups are go armed whenever they leave the ship gets. I get the feeling that this kidnapping isn't just about the trial of a stupid vet who forgot how to be ethical. Maybe the criminals knew that the Wee Sing is a prosperous trader. It would make sense. Most people would pay anything to get family back. But we don't do that. We pay back kind with kind, words with words, goods with goods. It's hard to believe that someone would test that. But then again, it's been a while since the Star Sailors invoked our rights around here. I told Mom about my suspicions, and she said that she's been feeling similarly. But without any evidence to go on, we can't do anything about suspecting. She did say that the criminals haven't sent a ransom demand, which is concerning since obviously trying to extort testimony in a trial postponed until the kidnapped victim is returned won't work. I don't want to think about what that could mean, except maybe Yoiv escaped? If they gave him a chance to slip away, he'd have taken it. I'm going with escaped. That means Greg can punish the scum. I decided to go through Daddy's personal logs to see if he wrote anything that we can use up here, but he's not synced up with the ship. That makes sense. It's probably something sneaky thought of. I saw what the poachers put him through, and I realized that the vet had been using images from the police reports in the association test. I think he wanted to make Greg get violent on purpose. I don't know why. The paper is deeply scored with the following: void-sucking piece of rot can go sit in a decompressing airlock. Now I'm asking Daddy to teach me how to use a gun, so if I ever see that Jakku, I can shoot him. Speaking of, a Jakku ship docked. She's an absolute hunk of junk, and the crew says that her crew seemed disappointed with Star Sailors being armed on station. Weird. Most Jakku are friendly. Maybe they're smugglers or something lame. Log 6,001.0.14. Personal, Captain Yovdraw. The criminal gang seems to be mostly Jakku. Strange. They have very few criminal organizations, let alone in their own nation, as the hegemony is not very tolerant of law-breaking. One of the reasons I chose to sail these stars. It is irrelevant. The night passed without incident, and we took Gregory's advice and slept in shifts. This was well, because when dawn broke, we were tired but not exhausted. We gathered once more to hear the observations of the other duos and Gregory himself. Nobody saw very much use, unless the fact that the gangers seemed to be agitated for some reason can be made useful. I noticed several small people with scales that have very bright colors. Are they juveniles? Gregory asked after hearing the scant information. Yes, Sotran explained. Their scales dull when they fully mature. They recruit young. Filthy criminals corrupting the youth. Giving me weak links, Gregory whispered to a tundra breeze. It shouldn't be too much trouble to capture one. Do not underestimate kids with guns. I should know. Yes, sir. Don't sir me. I'm not an officer, Gregory almost said as if by rote. Do we still inquire with the feather people about recent activity? Yes, full teams only. Do not break line of sight with your team. Do not go out of contact with me and all your team leaders. Keep your heads on a swivel. Yes, sir, the crewman said. Don't sir me. I'm not an officer. Actually, Yamdril said, you're leading an away team. That makes you a lieutenant at least. Greg looked nonplussed. Just don't make a habit of it. No saluting on mission. It's how you get killed. Yes, sir. Can you get a secure line to the ship? Yes, I answered. But it can be detected. We'll have to risk it. Find out if the kidnappers have made any demands. I did as I was instructed, and relayed that no attempts at contact had been made. Gregory looked pensive, and an expression that looked like an aborted smile crept across his face. Linus followed his training and got away. We will need to confirm this, but if it's true, then we can exfiltrate him and start teaching. We broke into the same two teams and went out into the streets. The Corvians were more than happy to answer our questions, but they didn't know anything specifically about Yovdraw. They did know that there was a ransoming operation centered in that building, so there would be more innocent children inside. They also told us that the gang has a general disregard for property, meaning that all property was their property, and that it has become a rite of passage of sorts to have initiates beat one of their elders, likely to desensitize them to committing acts of brutality. Most interestingly, a large number of low-level gangers have suddenly fallen ill, or had urgent family business to attend to on the other side of the continent. I suspect that they have a case of liking their fingers attached. "Go into that alley," Gregory suddenly said. "Laugh loudly. Say something about an easy arrest." I did so, and my teammates caught on. There was the sound of a group of people trying to flee stealthily, and only succeeding at one of those things. Unfortunately for them, they fled directly into Gregory's field of fire. 6 plasma bolts later, and suddenly the underaged ganger was all alone, surrounded by 6 corpses with smoldering stumps where their heads used to be, and 8 angry star sailors. He did not surrender easily, or rather he attempted to stab Aquindrum when he reached out to restrain the boy. Yamdril disarmed him without too much trouble. "You're alive for a reason," I repeated to him, and he quietened down as terror came over him. This as well, because he did not struggle further, and we got him to our base camp without further incident. "Do you have an implant?" Gregory asked with his arms casually draped across his rifle. The boy licked his eyes nervously and asked if Greg was going to eat his fingers. I translated for him. "Answer the question." "He says he does." Good. "What were you doing with those dead gangers?" "He says he was learning how to get ahead." "Do they seem like they got ahead to you?" The boy just shook his head, and Gregory continued, "I guess they wouldn't. Do you know why we're here?" "He says that we're here for the sailor kid." "Very good. Where is he?" "He says that Yoifdril is missing." "Explain." "He says that he disappeared and all the bosses are panicked since nothing is stopping you from coming to eat them." "Eat? I don't imagine scum would taste very good. Do you want to stay alive, kid?" "He's begging you to believe him." "Here's how you stay alive. You run away from the gang. You go home to your mommy and stay there for a few days." The boy stopped his distressed cries and calmed himself just enough to scuttle away, before breaking out into a sprint in a decidedly non-ganger direction. "Dear Hero Loggery, there was a bad guys dying today. Somebody shot their heads off. It is sneaky. I told the other kids. They are all too scared to go outside. I do not want to leave them alone. The nice people said that somebody saw Star Sailors. Daddy and Sneaky came to save us." Mission Log 4. Date 163. Named Gregory George. Mission Planetary Rescue. Mission Objective Rescue Linus from unknown hostiles connected to Shady Lawyer. Linus located. Shuttle company name determined. Shuttle by green. Gang identified. Gang headquarters identified. Likely information vector identified. Information vector obtained. A large number of gangers in hiding. Linus has escaped. Eliminate or neutralize all hostiles. 1 hostile neutralized non-lethally. 1 hostile eliminated. 6 hostiles eliminated. 1 potential hostile neutralized. Teach the criminal elements a lesson. 1 example provided. 1 demonstration provided. Mission parameters: minimize collateral casualties, minimize collateral property damage, evade detection by station security, minimize station damage, protect allies. Potential action plan: observe headquarters over planetary night, inquire local crime victims on recent gang activity, identify defensive weak points, identify gang leadership. Observations irrelevant to mission. Pops is threatening to make me an officer. End of chapter. I would just like to thank the T5 supporters: Bushmaster 117, Casper Arnholtz, Dragzoon W.R.E, Elijah Silvercross, Gray, Jon Carrington, and Sevaren Serberous. Thank you very much.